All right, guys, supper is ready. And you guys see what I mean with some risky food that does not like to be out of refrigeration for long. Luckily, the shrimp and the artificial crab meat that I packed in were wrapped up in some clothing. There was still a bit of ice on the shrimp, so I think I'm gonna be okay. But yeah, we'll see in the morning if I'm sick or not. But wow, this is incredible. So I got big shrimp, artificial crab meat, onion, red pepper, yellow pepper, and a pack of miso soup with these big fat noodles, which Boomer's eating right now off the ground. These yakisoba noodles are incredible. So I'm gonna chill out right here and eat my hot soup noodle dish with that campfire and relax for a little bit and take it easy. So cheers, guys. Hot supper. All right, guys, supper is all done, and I gotta say, two big thumbs up on that. Boomer and I enjoyed that meal, and it was definitely worth it. Now, in all seriousness, I don't recommend bringing that kind of food out here. I do if I get sick, my own fault. I don't recommend it for everybody else to do, but take your chances. So this evening is gonna be really mellow. We're gonna be chilling out with our little stick fire here. No axe, no saw on this adventure as we don't really need the fire, but it is helping dry my soaking wet pants and shoes, so that is a bonus. Going to be sitting next to this for probably quite a while. It is still rather warm out, but it's not terribly warm. I mean, there's no bugs out, so it's cold enough that we're starting to get into fall. but it is still warm right now. So sitting in front of this fire is actually too hot, but I need to dry out a little bit and then I'll back away from it. My hammock system is rated for winter, so I'm not going to be cold at all. If anything, I'll kick my top quilt off and just lay in the hammock with nothing on me at all. Use my sweater for a pillow, as I always do, and basically just kick back and let these trees and the wind rock me to sleep back and forth, and hopefully have a nice sleep and then wake up early in the morning with all the birds. So gonna be chilling out here for a little bit, getting dry, stoking this fire, and just relaxing. All right, everybody, we've been chilling out next to the fire for probably an hour and a half, and it's much darker out and later than it actually looks on camera, so we are pretty tuckered out. We are actually also quite dry, so walking around this forested area now that we're dry is not something that I want to do, because I actually want to go to bed nice and dry. I am sleeping in these pants, which is why I'm kind of stressing that. My shoes, I'm going to tie them together, drape them over top of the ridge line when I zip the hammock shut. So those will be up off the ground nice and dry when I wake up, hopefully. Backpack directly underneath of me, and everything looks pretty good. So with this particular hammock, I do have a matching set. This is a top quilt. So this actually zips into the hammock, and Boomer just wants to jump out. This top quilt actually zips into the hammock if I'm not using the bug net, more as like an open style in and out hammock for the winter time. So I'm not going to be zipping that in today because it's not winter yet and there are the odd bug here and there. But this plus this is an actual top quilt that snaps together. So it does snap with a foot box. It can also be undone and opened up as a huge blanket. So right now I have it set to a top quilt with the snapped end, drawstring end, so there is a foot box. That is going to be what I'm using tonight. This right here, I'm not going to use at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jam this behind me and just use that as a double up pillow along with my sweater. I don't think I'm going to wear this tonight. I think it's going to be too warm for that. But yeah, so in winter time, I would do the opposite. I would zip this in, or this guy in, and then I would also use the top quilt. And what I would do is I would get in the hammock. Bug net wouldn't be here on most trips. Sometimes I leave it to stop blowing snow from coming in the hammock. But basically I would get inside the top quilt and then I would zip the other top quilt up over top of that. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because this hammock pretty much does it all for me. I love it. Between this hammock, which is a Superior gear hammock, and the Hammock drummer, which I have, those two hammocks do everything. So definitely a fan of the hammocks, especially in the winter time. You float up above the snow, get out of the wetness, which is exactly what we're doing today. We're up out of the wetness, despite the snow yet. So that campfire's crackling away really nicely. I think what I'm going to do is slide in, get these shoes off, turn this light off, and enjoy this view of the campfire. So I'm going to say goodnight to you guys, and I'll catch up with you first thing in the morning. Peace out, guys. Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful, silent, misty, cloudy, wet kind of day today. It definitely reminds me of home, Vancouver Island. This forest is so green, so lush and mossy, and just all these ferns, the warm air coming in, this just everything totally reminds me of the West Coast, when in fact we are on the East Coast. So, very happy to wake up in the hammock this morning. Last night was pretty uneventful. Boomer fell asleep really quick. There was a slight rumble of thunder, probably for about 20 minutes, and a little bit of rain, and then after that it just went silent, like absolutely silent. A little bit of wind here and there. The hammock was swaying back and forth for a bit, which was definitely relaxing. Other than that, no animals, no visitors, nothing, just kind of looking in the area. Everything's still super dark out here. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning and it's dark, like dark. It is cloudy. I love these kind of days. So very happy to wake up in the forest on a day just like this. So it's so dark that I even have my light on, which is pretty ridiculous at 9 o'clock in the morning. So hot coffee on the go right now, a little bit of morning routine. Boomer's still being a little sissy. He doesn't want to go run around. He's getting a little too wet on his paws, so he likes to jump on me or prop himself on my backpack on the ground, which is totally fine. It's almost sweater weather for him, so we gotta start digging out his winter jacket and his hoodies and stuff like that, because he's starting to show that he's getting a little cold. Not right now today, but the other day it was quite chilly, and he was kind of shivering and shaking, so I had to put him in my sweater pocket, believe it or not. So cheers, guys. Good morning, and let's start the day off nice and relaxing. All right, well, with morning coffee just about wrapped up, I might as well explain this trip and why I chose to bring what I chose to bring. So, as you guys can see, I did bring the Trangia stove, which is an alcohol burner. This thing works like a champ. All the dishes are all in one. So I got 2 bowls there, the pot gripper, I've got the snuffer cap, and then the actual Trangia stove itself, which is just a tiny little alcohol stove. I use methyl hydrate for my fuel, which I keep in this tiny bottle with no label. I know, I get asked that all the time. Why don't you label it? Because I know what's in it. So this is methyl hydrate, and then I've got a water bottle that I keep the label on most of the time. So water, methyl hydrate, just screw this cap on here, and whatever alcohol is in here, I can actually leave in here because it has an O-ring. So I did spill a tiny bit there, but once it's on there, the alcohol stays in, which is kind of neat. I like that about this system. And then everything just collapses into one, so it makes it super, super easy to pack up and hit the trail. It works in high winds, it works in snow, winter, whatever, rain, with the windshield, and it really, really pumps the heat to the pot, so it does get hot quite often. The only thing that kind of irritates me is you have to keep this piece of plastic, because I have the non-stick pan version, so the plastic goes on there, so it doesn't scratch off the the non-stick coating is what I'm trying to say. It's still really early in the morning. Other than that, cooking stuff was very simple. I did not bring a saw or an axe on this adventure because I knew that I was going to be doing a very small campfire, so any kind of twigs or anything I break by hand, and if I did need a baton, I have my knife. As far as the hammock goes, I know we kind of touched on this yesterday. I just went with my Superior Gear hammock and my Lone Wolf 902 Signature Edition tarp, and that's basically it. Everything was super warm, very, very comfortable, and very simple on this trip. I did switch to bringing a tiny little bag, so this is just a little Core Flex bag that I got off of Amazon. I think they were like 2 for like 20 bucks, or 3 for 20 bucks. And this is great for any kind of camping. I put all my spoons, forks, coffee grinder, everything in here. I click it up on my ridge line, put it inside my tent, whatever. I know what the bag looks like, so I know what's inside of the bag, versus rooting through my backpack for little tiny things like a spoon or a coffee filter. So that really helps out keeping everything nice, neat, and orderly. It also works as like a little sit pad. If I empty it out, I can put it on the ground. Works great for all kinds of little tasks. So very simple on this adventure. Low key. I know I've been doing a lot of vehicle camping this summer, and realistically, it's summer. I hate summer heat. So if I could drive in a location, do a little bit of overlanding versus hiking and exerting myself in the sweltering heat, I will do that. Not only that, but the channel has grown so big that I'm doing bus camping, van camping, overland camping, truck, Jeep, rooftop tent camping. There's so many just different rabbit holes of camping on my channel, which is what I always wanted to do when I first started it, was to show every possible way to basically get out and camp. Even if you're elderly or if you're in a wheelchair and you can't hike, take a van, take a bus, you know what I mean? Like, or if you don't have that kind of money for those vehicles, get a hammock, get a tent, use a tarp. There's all kinds of ways to camp. So very happy the channel has blossomed into something just absolutely incredible, thanks to everyone who watches. And if you want to help support us here on Lone Wolf 902 and our other channel, Destination Wilderness, where me and my wife are building an off-grid property, Patreon link is down below, guys, because all of this is because of the viewers. So if you do want to help out, definitely check that out. So just to put that out there, Destination Wilderness is growing. I'm trying to think when the last time we filmed the video there. We had a major problem with our road, our driveway. Just click the link down below, Destination Wilderness, in the description, YouTube channel. Go check it out there. We have some major things coming up on that channel. So check that out for sure. But this adventure is basically wrapped up. I think what I'm going to do is take my last sip of coffee, pack this stuff up, and then down the hammock and jam it in the backpack and head out of here. All right, so here's the fun part. My gigantic downfill hammock plus 2 top quilts inside fit inside of my backpack. I don't bother using the stuff sack for this exact reason. So show this to you guys real time, because I used to get asked all this all the time, like, oh, where's your second backpack? And who else is carrying your gear? Who's doing the filming? I'm doing everything myself. So this just crams in here, and this is so beautiful when you have 850, 900 fill, really high quality, fluffy downfill products, is they pack down ridiculously small. But they're incredibly warm, just like the birds that have down feathers. So that packs down way farther, but I like to let it loft up so it fills the backpack and gives it some form. So realistically, my backpack is too big for this hammock. And this is a 40-liter pack. So just to put that in perspective, that's my entire hammock, under quilt, 2 downfill top quilts, plus my tarp is going to go in there, straps, cooking gear, whatever else I needed in there, food from yesterday, and this hammock can still cram down to about the halfway mark. That leaves the other half for other things like change of clothes, backup stuff, whatever else you need, extra food, a longer trip. So yeah, it packs in there very nicely, very, very nicely. So I'm going to get this rain fly down, get that packed in there, and that should be everything. All right, everybody, we've got everything totally packed up in the backpack, and it looks like we even beat the rain. It is misting, so I am going to get a little bit wet, but it's not pouring enough for me to put the rain cover on or throw my rain jacket. So everything's packed away inside. Rain jacket on the top. If I do need to grab it out, I can just reach in and grab it via the front window, which is very convenient. So the only thing here left is this little fire ring, and this area is super remote to the point that I'm not actually going to destroy this. I really do like this area. I am definitely going to come back here. So I'm going to leave this here, and I'll utilize it next time I'm here. I'll know exactly where the camp was, using this as a beacon. So we are ready to get out of here. Boomer had fun, I had fun, and it is time to call this a wrap. Very, very enjoyable. Let me know what you guys think about this adventure, and definitely check out the other channel. Until next time, peace out, and I'll see you in the next adventure. Oh.